Good day, my name is Christel from Frans, Klerk, Independent Technical Analysts. Muhammad wanted us to kick off with Capitec, and we can see that this red line represented by the 40-week moving average, because this is a weekly graph, are approaching these levels, and if the share starts to consolidate below this 40-week moving average, it will ring the bell for long-term investors to say, be careful, this long-term sentiment towards the share is changing to negative. However, despite the fact that when the share starts to consolidate below the 40-week moving average, the share is also trapped within this falling wedge. And a falling wedge is a positive formation, and that formation will be confirmed when the share starts to change this upper band of this falling wedge into a support. And the target of the falling wedge is normally the width of the wedge, and we normally take the middle part of the wedge. Some analysts might even take the tail, but we're a little bit more conservative. And if we take the width of the falling wedge and we project it upwards from where the level is where the falling wedge will be confirmed, it shows us there's the possibility of this share playing out this formation can take it to 1,368 Rand. Now, we know that might not happen in one line, but it is a possible target that investors can keep in mind if this upper band waiting there around 1,266.56 changes into a support. However, we know that the share can also continue to lower levels, which means that this upper band will just be extended, and at some stage, a possible turnaround pattern or possible turnaround formation might change this upper band into a support, or it might not, which means it might start to consolidate below the 40-week moving average, and then the bell for long-term investors will ring for Capitec. Sarah wanted us to look at Anglo Gold. Now we know because of the higher gold price, all the gold counters on our exchange just skyrocketed to higher levels. But we can see once again, even here, that the 40-week moving average, this red line, is critical. When the share tried to change it into support, it couldn't, it retraced even further. It tried again that in the beginning of 2018, it could not change the 40-week moving average into a support, and it retraced. And here around July 2018, for 3 times, it tried to change that 40-week moving average into a support. But when it could do that, and that was around September 2018, the share just started to reach for higher levels. And we can see here again in May 2019, this 40-week moving average was tested. But thank goodness there was enough buyers to keep this level a support. And we see ever since then, it's just a strong lamp pole formation that took the share to new record highs. Now, I've used a stochastic indicator here to highlight overbought levels, and we can see despite the fact that it is being overbought, that my two moving averages within the stochastic is still pointing upwards. Yes, the share has now, for 2 consecutive weeks, found some resistance there around 272 Rand, but I don't have confirmation of a lower high yet, or a confirmation that the share is losing steam. I've drawn in here, Sarah, on Anglo Gold, two strong support levels, and I think the first sign of weakness for Anglo Gold will be visible below 259 Rand 20. That would be my first level, because then it will move back into this consolidation band that has been in place since the 24th of June. And then when the share starts to change this 248 Rand 69, this lower band on Anglo Gold, into a resistance again, we can assume that the share is maybe losing steam, and then we need to wait to see where it finds support again, or maybe a possible turnaround candle. I think a lot obviously depends on the gold price as well as the rand weakness. But at the moment, what is sometimes difficult with a share that has rallied so much to the top, there's not really strong support to the bottom. So when the share starts to retrace, you've got these massive long candles with no real, maybe here's a strong support level, with also a window, but that is sitting at around 194 Rand. So it's sometimes when a share rallies like that, it can easily come back a lot quicker. We always use the analogy, it's a lot easier for a ball to fall out of the air, but it's a lot harder to get it up into the air. You need a lot more energy and stamina to get it up into the air. But when that ball starts to lose momentum and it starts to come down, it happens at a much faster pace. And the same principle applies in the stock market. Yes, it rallied massively, and it took about 7-8 weeks to get it to around 269 rand, but it can easily maybe take it just in 3 weeks back to these same levels around the 40-week moving average. Technically, Sarah, I think if you want to enter the share, you're too late. It's already extremely overbought. It's already had a massive rally. Rather wait for a decent pullback and then see if you can find a level to get in again. If you want to take profit, my weakness, as I said, will be confirmed there below that lower band there, waiting there around 248.80, 249 rand. Almost wanted us to look at Mr. Price. Now, Mr. Price is also a share that kept a lot of us awake at night. And we can see again here that 40-week moving average on the weekly graph was a critical level to highlight or to ring the bell for investors to say, be careful, this share might be losing steam and it cannot keep this 40-week moving average as support. So when it changed it into a resistance there around June 2018, the share made a nice turnaround. But for several weeks at the end of November 2018, the share tried to keep this level, the 40-week moving average, a support, but it just could not do it. And then the share plummeted to 52-week lows there around 179 rand. It bounced a little bit again, but look there, again in April 2019, for 3 consecutive weeks, it tried to test that 40-week moving average, but it could not find enough buyers to change that level into a support. Now, almost Mr. Price is at the moment caught within this symmetrical triangle. And a symmetrical triangle is an uncertain formation. It means it can either reach for higher levels or it can maybe plummet to even lower levels. So when the share starts to consolidate below 193 Rand 59, that means I can even maybe see Mr. Price again there around 179 Rand. However, if it can manage to change that upper band of the symmetrical triangle into a support again, which is waiting there around 204 Rand 07, the share might try to reach that 40-week moving average again, and that is waiting at 215 Rand 34. Unfortunately, my stochastic indicator that I've used here on Mr. Price is in no man's land. It's sitting on a 47. And more importantly, that blue line, the shorter moving average, looks like it wants to lose momentum even to more downside. My candles also confirm that there was strong resistance there around 204 Rand. It shows me that the selling pressure is on. So at the moment, I would be careful and rather sit on my hands on Mr. Price to see how this symmetrical triangle plays out and what the share does with this stochastic indicator. Keith wanted us to look at Afrimat. This is a share that really surprised everyone when it started to change that 40-week moving average again, and that is represented by the red line, into a support. And a new record high was reached in July 2018 when the share reached 36 Rand 50. But for the last 4 weeks, it's just been making lower highs on the upper shadows of my candles. And that tells me there is clear resistance. It tells me that there are traders that have already started taking profits and that I might, if I'm already in the profit, I might have to consider taking profit myself. So the first confirmation of weakness on the share would be below this support line that I've drawn in here, and that is waiting at 33 Rand 72. Below 33 Rand 72, we might confirm the first sign of weakness. But more importantly, I've also drawn in here a trend line, quite a strong trend line, but more importantly, look how closely that trend line is to the 40-week moving average. That confirms the importance of that support line, and it confirms that when the share starts to change these levels, waiting there around 29 Rand 84 into a resistance, the second bell will ring for Afrimat. Yes, the share is obviously overbought. Not really. I mean, we would prefer it above an 80 or 19 overbought. But more importantly, look how my blue line, the shorter moving average, wants to cross downwards through my longer red line. And that is seen as negative. The other negative thing about the stochastic is the fact that it's making lower highs. And that is seen as a divergence, it's seen as negative, and it means that the share price might follow this indicator in time to come. So at the moment, Keith, I think clearly the momentum to the top is in place. I think you're too late to enter into the share now. Wait for that support there of 3 Rand 70 around there to change into a resistance. Otherwise, hold on to the share as long as that level remains a support. And obviously, that 40-week moving average is the critical level for long-term investors.